When I first left university, I decided that I was going to go get a job in advertising because I thought that this was the only place that you could get paid to be creative. What a fool I was. Anyway, so I start working in advertising. I get my first ever ad job, right? And I'm working for this creative director. He's a real nice guy. He's taken me under his wing. He's a bit of a mentor, and he started to kind of put me on all the good jobs and help me move up through the advertising ranks, whatever the hell that means. 9 months into this job, I'm on the precipice of getting my dream job and the pay rise and everything, and it's all just looking so good. And I rock up to work that morning and I quit. Fast forward a year or two and I found myself back in advertising, this time at a different agency, and this time I was the creative director and I had a department of people working for me. It was awesome, man. I loved it. I was getting flown around the world working for big brands, big clients, making awesome work. Once again, I get to the precipice of a pay rise, a status rise, all these things. They're just on my horizon and they're all about to come true. And once again, I rock up to work and quit. I could bore you with so many examples of this pattern. Every time I'm getting momentum with videos, I stop making them. Whenever I make progress at the gym, I find an excuse not to go for weeks. Countless jobs just seem to be going so well until I just choose not to rock up one day. It's called self-sabotage and it is on track to ruin my life, baby. And if you're watching this video, there's a small chance it might be on track to ruin yours as well. From everything that I've read and researched about self-sabotage, the answer doesn't seem to lie in ignoring these negative feelings. It's not about grinding or pushing past them or using your brute strength to, I don't know, punch them like they're a little baby. Instead, it's more about sitting with the negative feelings. And that's what this video is going to largely address, how to do that. But firstly, let's find out why we self-sabotage. Self-sabotage typically has its root cause in the self-worth that you developed when you were a child. And bear with me, because this is my dumb guy synthesis of what I've learned about this. Let's say in childhood you had a parent who ignored you. Maybe they were absent, maybe they left your family, or maybe they just worked too much and didn't really have time for you, or maybe they just weren't ready for kids, and so by ignoring you, they didn't have to accept that responsibility. Whatever reason, let's just say this parent ignored you. When you're a kid, your powers of rationing and reasoning aren't that great. Instead of saying, my parent ignored me because they were a bad parent, you say, my parent is a reasonable and just person and is acting reasonably and just. And so your conclusion is, my parent is ignoring me because I am somebody worth ignoring. You start developing this pattern that says, I'm worthless and anybody paying attention to me is just being nice. It goes without saying that this is just one tiny example in a sea of things that could have happened to you when you were a child. Let's say instead of being ignored by a parent, you were abused by a parent. Your childhood brain is going to ration and reason that you are somebody worth abusing. The bad part is what you're going to find is that these patterns show up throughout your life again and again and again. This is your brain's eagerness to know that it's right about its initial conclusion. Instead of realizing that you had an adverse childhood, it's far less energy and far easier to just try find yourself in those patterns to say, see, we are somebody worth ignoring and abusing. And that is a deeply vicious cycle. So therefore it makes sense for us to address these problems as soon as humanly possible. So let's say you're this kid who's been ignored or neglected and you start making it through life and you start to notice that maybe the world isn't as bad as this parent made it out to be, and you start getting like a little bit of success in your life. Maybe you develop a long-term relationship, maybe you get a degree, I don't know what it is, but things are starting to go your way. You know that you should feel happy about this, but something in your brain just doesn't, and you can't quite figure it out. What's happening is there's a conflict between who you are and who you believe you are. The core belief that you developed about yourself in childhood, I'm somebody worth ignoring, I'm not worthy of success, I'm somebody worth abusing, whatever it is in conflict with reality. The fact that people are now celebrating you, the fact that you've actually done some great things, the fact that you're probably a pretty fun person to hang out with. Come on, give yourself some credit. In reality, you're not worth ignoring or abusing or neglecting. Nobody is. But the core belief that you developed about yourself as a child begs to differ. And unfortunately, that core belief has a far stronger hold on you than you know. For reasons you can't understand, you begin to fail. It's not intentional, it just kind of starts to happen, almost insidiously. You start finding these excuses, just these little excuses that feel harmless on the surface, like, man, I don't really feel like going to work today, you know, just not really in the mood. Sometimes the excuses you make are a little bit more twisted and try fool you a little bit more, and they take shape like, I know that I'm 90% of the way through this book, but I should really start a marketing degree so I know I can sell the book, right? That makes sense, right? We all know how that ends. You don't finish the book. In both of these examples, you are stifling your own success. And this, of course, as we've figured out by now, is because on some level you believe that you don't deserve success. Your subconscious is trying to protect the person that it thinks that you are. It believes that you are worthless, and so it's trying to conserve that and return you to that with its gravity that pulls you back down by making excuses. Otherwise, it has to come to grips with the fact that it might have been wrong about you its whole life. And that is earth-shattering. But unfortunately, to shatter our beliefs, we gotta shatter that world. We have to accept that most of what we know about this world is wrong, and most of what we learnt through a distorted lens. It'd be like if you'd only ever seen your reflection in one of those big, wobbly fun park mirrors your entire life. You'd go your whole life thinking that you had a big, wobbly head. Then when you finally see your reflection in a normal mirror, you're going to start to think that that mirror is the fake mirror. This is how we end up with concepts like imposter syndrome. The sensation that people get when they don't feel like they deserve the success that they've truly created, and that people are somehow going to find them out. Which is the same as somebody who's seen themselves in that fun park mirror thinking, oh God, people are going to find out that I have a big wobbly head. You don't have a big wobbly head. You're fine. You're absolutely fine. It's okay. So the question on everybody's lips by this point in the video should be, how do I solve the damn thing? How do I stop self-sabotage? And the answer is, I don't know. Or rather, I don't really have a blanket answer that can apply to everybody. But I can tell you what I've done to try solve my own, and you can take the bits that you like and hopefully craft them into your own solution. All you'll need is a pen, paper, and a couple of hours of your time. You ready? Now let's go. 1. Recognize that the core beliefs about yourself are not facts. The wobbly head you in the fun park mirror is not truly you. I'm just going to list mine out, and bit of a content warning, these are going to get a bit heavy, but heck man, if you've come this far, you know we'll be fine by the end. In no order, the main negative core beliefs that I have about myself are: I deserve to be abandoned, rejected, and bullied. I'm a loser, and anything I make, I'll inevitably lose. Someone cruel will hurt me. I deserve to be preyed upon and sexually abused. I'm disgusting, ugly, and unlovable. Kind of messed up, but hey, by saying all that stuff, I am just that much closer to freedom. Now, when I look at this list, it is really, really cruel. I would never say this to anybody, and yet I say this to myself every day. I know rationally that none of these are true facts, but on some level, I believe them. So now it's time for step 2. Write out the opposite. So the opposite of my points are: I deserve to be joined, accepted, and celebrated. I'm a winner, and everything I make will eventually succeed. Somebody compassionate will help me. I didn't deserve to be preyed upon or sexually abused. Nobody does. I'm beautiful and lovable. And just as a warning, this step will feel corny as hell. Oh God, writing I am lovable. I know, but push past that. Just trust me, push past it. Nobody's judging you. And if they are, just blame me. The bald tattooed man on the internet made me do it, Mum. Step 3, find evidence for each fact and its opposite. So let's take I deserve to be rejected and its opposite, I deserve to be accepted. Now what we're gonna do is make 4 columns. In the first and third column, we'll write why I deserve to be rejected and why I deserve to be accepted. And then we're going to list our evidence. The evidence for why I deserve to be rejected is I don't tend to fit in with normal people, and they're going to figure out that I'm way weirder than I actually am, and because other people are more normal, likable, and palatable. In the why I deserve to be accepted column, things look a little bit more positive. It's going to be really hard for you to answer if you're quite deep in the sort of pattern of self-sabotage, but just keep asking your brain, why do I deserve whatever your thing is? And hopefully it can come up with some answers. I've got because weirdos need weirdos, and because I got a lot of love in my heart, and because I accept all people and acceptance is reciprocal. Basically, it's me finding my tribe and realizing that there's a lot more people out there like me. Then in the second and fourth column, I write the consequence that I'd bet money on. I like writing that I'd bet money on because it makes me think really rationally. The consequence of people finding out how weird I am is, honestly, if I had to bet money on it, it's probably acceptance. The world does love weirdos. The consequence of other people being more likable and palatable and more normal than me is very likely, but not a problem at all. On the positive side, the consequence of weirdos needing weirdos is other people who struggle with acceptance are hopefully getting helped when I articulate these things, which I'm hoping is you right now as you watch this. Fingers crossed. And as for the consequence of acceptance being reciprocal, that one just straight up leads to a better world. Step 4, make an actionable final list of triggers, feelings, and actions. We're doing columns again. This is 3 columns. So this one has positive experience, negative feelings, and a third column that I'll come to later. When I fill out that list, it looks like this. When my fiance says she loves me, I feel like she loves a fake me. When I get too many compliments, I feel like I'm fooling people. When I get too many opportunities in my inbox, I feel like I'm gonna let people down and these opportunities will never come again. When I have a video go well, I feel like it's a fluke. When I make a decent amount of money, I feel like it's the last money I'll ever make. But now what we're gonna do is add a third column that's gonna hopefully help us interrupt these patterns. At the top of that column you write, but next time I will remind myself that the reality is, she really loves me. People are kind and we're connecting. I'm good at my job. People connected to what I had to say, and that's a gift. This has never been true. There is always more. The idea here is that self-sabotage can be triggered by positivity, and as positivity comes in, the negative thoughts are only going to get higher and higher and higher. It's going to feel like you're balancing chairs on top of each other, standing on the top, and it's only a matter of time before you fall. But what we're doing is recognizing and interrupting those thought patterns and realizing that that's just not the reality. This step is obviously ongoing. It's like showering, you've got to do it every day, or every week if you're a hippie. The final step in this system, which once again isn't gospel, this is just what I've come up with for myself, is step 5. Treat yourself like you treat someone you love. If your friend was on a roll with their career, would you tell them to quit their job? If your partner came home after having a shitty day, would you remind them that they deserve it? If your child was doing well at school, would you tell them it was a fluke? No, you wouldn't. These are awful things to say to anybody, and yet we say them to ourselves every day. If you were somebody that you loved, you'd take yourself out to dinner, pump your body with sunshine instead of drugs, and forgive yourself for all your mistakes. In your notebook, as a final thought, write down some changes you want to make, and then more importantly, why you deserve them. And that's my list, those 5 steps. Anyway, I hope this all made sense. I hope you're enjoying it. Subscribe if you're new, leave a comment if this gave you some value, share it with a friend if you know a friend is struggling, and damn, have a gorgeous day. I really do mean that, by the way, I'm not just saying that. Gotcha.